All right, this is Math Unit 5 review. Your test is tomorrow, Tuesday, December 10th. And the first three problems are all addition, okay? And when we add, we have to find common denominators. So our first step here is to look to see if there's common denominators. And there are, so all we have to do is add the numerators, which gives us 6/8. And I know I need to simplify that, and to simplify I can divide the top and the bottom both by 2, and I get 3/4. The second one, I have 5/6 plus 7/8, and I notice that 6 and 8 are not common denominators. And to find a common denominator, I can find the least common multiple of both of them. So if I do that, the LCM of 6 is 6, 12, 18, 24, and then of 8 is 8, 16, 24, and you will notice that 24 is our least common multiple, so that's our least common denominator. So 5/6 plus 7/8, that's my original problem. I need to multiply the denominators to get to equal 24. And 8 times 3 is 24, so I need to multiply this fraction by 3/3. Oh shoot. And 6 times 4 is 24, so I need to multiply that one by 4/4. So that leaves me with 20/24 plus 21/24, which leaves me with 41/24. Okay, and I know I can't leave an answer as an improper fraction. I need to change it to a mixed number. And to do that, I do the J method. So it goes in one time with 17 left over. So it's 1/17/24. Number 3, I have 5 1/8 plus 3 5/6. And the key here is to change them into into improper fractions before you start. So 8 times 5 is 40, plus 1 is 41/8, plus 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23/6. Okay, then I need to find a common denominator, which I just did it up here. They're both 6 and 8 again, so it's 24. So I multiply this by 4/4. Multiply this one by 3/3, and I'm left with 123/24 plus 92/24, which is 215/24. Okay, and then I do my J method again, and I get 8, and 23/24 is my final answer. Moving on to, subtracting. Subtracting, I also have to make sure I have common denominators, okay? You cannot subtract without common denominators. So these are both 11, so I'm good to go. So I subtract the numerators, and I get 5/11, and I'm done. Next one, 2/3 minus 3/4. My common denominator here is going to be 12, so I multiply this by 3/3. 2/3 by 4/4. Okay, and then I multiply, I get 8/12 minus 9/12. And if I use my integer rules, 8 minus 9 is -1/12. My next one, I need to change them into mixed numbers to begin with, or out of mixed numbers, excuse me. So I have 9 times 12 plus 8 is 1/16/9 minus 8 times 3 is 24 plus 2 is 26/3. And I need to find a common denominator. In this case, I'm going to choose 9 because that means I only have to touch one fraction. So I'm going to touch this one, multiply it by 3/3, which leaves me with 1/16/9 minus 78/9. And I get 38/9, which turns into 4 2/9. That's my final, most simple answer. right, multiplication. This is the easy one. This is when you just multiply the numerators across the top, multiply the denominators across the bottom. You do not need to have common denominators with multiplication. Okay, so I multiply 1 times 5, and I get 5. Multiply 8 times 6, I get 48, and I'm done. Okay, in this case, I need to change my mixed number into an improper fraction. So 6 times 5 is 30 plus 5, but it's a negative 35 over 6 times 1/2. And then once again, multiply across. So you get negative 35 over 12, which if I write it as a mixed number, it's negative 2 and 11 over 12. Number 9, we have 5 and 1/10, which I need to change to an improper fraction, which is 51 over 10, times 5 over 3. Okay, and this is the first one where I can look to cross cancel. Okay, so I look for a factor that goes into the crosses, and 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 10 two times, which leaves me with 51 over 6. And if I change 51 over 6 into a mixed number, I get 8 and 3/6, which simplified is 8 and 1/2. Division. Division is similar to multiplication except for the one extra step of the reciprocal. Okay, so you need to change all of the mixed numbers in division into improper fractions, which leaves me with 17 over 3 divided by 5 over 4. Okay, now that I have the mixed numbers gone, now I can multiply by my reciprocal. Okay, so I keep the first fraction the same, don't touch it. Multiply by the reciprocal of this, which I just flip the numerator and the denominator, and I get 4/5. And then I can multiply. So 17 times 4 is 68. 3 times 5 is 15. When I change that into a mixed number, I get 4 and 8 over 15. Next one, I need to change the second number into an improper fraction. So I have 3/4 divided by negative 5 over 2, which then I can keep this first one the same, which is 3/4. Multiply it by the reciprocal of this, which is negative 2 over 5. And then this one I can cross cancel, so this becomes a 1, this becomes a 2, and I'm left with negative 3/10. Number 12, 3/8 divided by 12. So I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to go over here so I have room. 3/8 divided by 12 over 1, because 12 over 1 is the same as 12, which is then 3/8 times 1/12. Multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. Okay, which leaves me, actually I can cross cancel here. 3 goes in 1 time, 3 goes in 4 times, and I'm left with 1 over 32. Alright, flip over to the back for the word problems. Kevin is 48 and 3/8 inches tall. His brother Keith is 5 and 5/8 inches taller. Okay, so if he's taller than Kevin and I'm trying to find how tall Keith is, I'm going to add his height on to Kevin. So I'm going to add 5 and 5/8. Okay, and that'll give me the height of Kevin. The height of Keith. Okay, so to add two mixed numbers, I have to first change them into improper fractions, which will give me 387 over 8 plus 45 over 8, which gives me 432 over 8. And if I simplify 432 over 8, I get Keith is 54 inches tall. as my answer. Number 14, a female gray whale is 45 1/4 feet long. A male gray whale is 43 1/2. How much longer is the female, this is the female, than the male? And if I'm trying to find out how much longer this first one is, I'm going to use the operation of subtraction. Okay, and subtraction is the same as addition. I need to turn them into improper fractions. So I get 181 over 4 minus 87 over 2. Now in this case, I do not have common denominators. I need to make common denominators, which I multiply this by 2 over 2, and I'm left with 181 over 4 minus 174 over 4, and that leaves me 7 over 4, which is 1 3/4 feet. And that's my final answer. Alright, last one. This is kind of tricky. The lifespan of a golden dollar coin is 30 years, while paper currency lasts an average of 1.5 years. How many times longer will the golden dollar stay in circulation? Okay, this is a division problem. How many times longer will it stay in circulation? So I'm going to take 30 and divide it by 1 1/2, okay, which is really 30 over 1 divided by 3 over 2. And I know I can multiply the first number by the reciprocal of the second. And then I can cross simplify. 3 goes in 1 time and 10 times. So I get 20 over 1, which is 20. So the golden dollar stays 20 times longer. Okay, you can also check your work by saying if you multiply 20, you multiply 20 by 1.5, you should get 30. So let's try it. So 20 over 1 times 3 over 2, which gives me 60 over 2, which gives me 30 years. Okay, that's how I check my work. If you have any questions tonight, please email me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Good luck tomorrow.